What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and today we have a brand new video talking about Enel, V2 Enel, which I was so lucky to pull in the latest Sugo-Fest. If you guys have not seen the video yet, make sure to go ahead and click the card at the top of the video, link you over to that video so you can see how we got him. But yes, we did get lucky enough to get this guy, and in this video today I want to go ahead and take him into some regular content. Now I know that this character specifically is not really, well, he's good, right, but he's not like meant to be used in regular content. While yes, you can definitely do that, he's more built to be used in Pirate Rumble, and yes, there is going to be Pirate Rumble content on the channel with this brand new Sugo-Fest exclusive character. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and use him in the Garp challenges, and we'll also go ahead and just break him down right here now before we get into those clips that I'll show you today. So talking about Enel, he is a Psy driven striker character with a captain effect of boosting Psy characters only by 5 times when they have a matching slot, 4.25 times otherwise, with a 1.3 health boost. Just that alone is already pretty decent, and then he also has an added effect which makes int, recovery, and tandem slots count as matching, and he will also go ahead and launch his special at the start of the quest. So very reminiscent of characters like version 1 Kaido, where as soon as you start the run, his special launches and you get some sort of buff out of that. So speaking of his special, it goes down to a 13 turn cooldown. With expansion, he goes down to a 12 turn cooldown, and it will go ahead and state that he reduces all enemies' health by 15%. He will boost the chances of you landing on a matching slot for 99 turns, so that's great. Obviously at the start of the quest you just have an infinite amount of time to get higher chances of matching slots. It's really good. And then he also reduces paralysis and bind by 5 turns. That's a really cool effect that he has. So obviously that's not really going to help you as soon as you launch it, but it's just really nice that he'll be able to give you some type of utility. So he's going to have great usage as a sub. And then he also will boost the color affinity of Psy characters by 2.25 for 1 turn. Then there is also this added effect that says he does 50% of the damage that he himself dealt with normal attacks to all enemies at the end of the turn. So if this Enel attacks for 1,000,000 damage, he will do 500,000 damage to all enemies. So that is also for 99 turns. So it means that this character as a captain has a really cool mechanic to get lots of matching slots, and if he does a lot of damage, he does lots of wave clearing at the end of that turn. And it just enabling you to get around resilience buffs as well, which is why I've always said that I really don't like characters that just outright remove resilience these days, because there's so many other ways to get around it, such as characters like this, which is just super unique. Plus remember, you can use this guy as a sub and you get all of those effects still as a sub. It's just that when he is the captain, he will automatically get it at the start of the quest because of his effect. Now speaking of his other abilities, his crewmate ability reduces paralysis by 1 for the whole team, which is great, and the other one will says all characters' int slots are going to be counted as beneficial. So again, another really great effect. But something else that is very unique to this guy is his support effect. Now it only attaches to Psy characters that are also driven, so it's a little bit niche, but there are still a lot of good ones, such as like Germa 66, Ambush Linlin, Sanji Judge. There are actually a pretty decent amount of characters you could attach it to, but it says that at the start of the final battle, Psy characters get a 1.5 color affinity boost. Such a good support effect that will see lots of play in the future. So I love this character. He has some really cool effects going on, and without further ado, we're going to go ahead and take him in to some Garp challenge content. Alright, so jumping into this video, of course, we're going to be going in order from left to right. We have the Whitebeard challenge starting things off first. Now, of course, with Enel, the way that he starts things off, as I've already discussed earlier on in this video, with his captain effect, you're going to be launching at the start of the quest, meaning that for the rest of this run, so long as, you know, your beneficial effects are not removed, you are going to be getting a higher chance of getting those matching slots, which is very valuable for taking on these mini boss fights. Now, you will see as well for this particular team, we have Shanks' crew as a crewmate, which is a ridiculously powerful unit for these side Garp challenges. Just having that ability to activate a 1.5 times attack boost every single turn is so invaluable to have, and by having that, it means that the base 5 times boost that the character will have with a matching slot is amplified even further, just getting so much power every single turn here. As for the other characters on this team, we have Christmas Nami, Treasure Map Nami, because of her amazing utility for removing attack down on stage 2. And then on stage 6, we remove attack down paralysis and a chain locking effect. We also have Queen on the team, Queen specifically for the Jozu stage, removing the increased defense and the % damage reduction, as well as giving us a 3x chain lock, which we can partner in tandem with the switch effect of Shanks Crew, giving us a 1.5 attack boost. We have matching slots that way as well, and with that alone, that's going to be just enough to take down the Jozu fight, no problem. And then on the final stage, this is where things get crazy, right, because of Germa 66. Germa 66 is probably one of the best other Sugo-Fest exclusive characters that you can partner up with Enel, and the main reason for that is, many people would understand at this point, but when Germa switch into the captain spot, they become super effective against all types. They also give you a full board of tandem slots, and then also will give you a 2.25 times orb boosting effect. And, you know, of course, with Enel as the other captain, we can get the 5 times boost if we've got a matching slot. So we have 2 5 times captains, right? But being super effective against all types. Then we have the Enel special added on top of that, which grants us a 2.25 times color affinity boost, which works perfectly with Germa, as he's super effective against all types, meaning any color affinity that will boost Germa is gonna be very valuable to your team. So Germa will hit ridiculously hard when you're running Enel also on that same team. So a fantastic unit to use in tandem with Enel. I believe, I don't actually remember specifically if I use Germa 66 on any of the other teams. I believe I don't. I think I only use them for this particular fight, but the main reason why I do that is because the fight against Enel and the fight against the Navy fight is just, on the final stage, the captain changes into the into the unit that we're super effective against. So there's no real need to have Germa for those particular fights, unless if you want to take on a mini boss using that. That's completely fair as well. But just goes to show, you know, that having an ability being super effective against all types, who would have thought that it's absolutely broken? And of course it is. But Enel really does make these challenges quite easy. Of course, you have a lot of HP, which means that you can tank more hits, of course. You know, Despair is still going to be a little bit of a problem, because obviously you're going to lose a lot of health because of that. But luckily, you know, the Psi typing just has like so much going for it that you can use both Shirahoshi Man-Cherries if you need to. So either one of them is a great healer for your team. Regular Shirahoshi, version 1 Shirahoshi is what I'm talking about. You get your full board of rainbow slots and really good health recovery mechanics. You know, there's lots of good units you can use. It is a little bit of a shame though that Enel is only boosting Psi characters, so you know, you are kind of shoehorned into running very specific units, but you know, it's not really that big of a deal when you have all these amazing effects, you know. So I like Enel a lot, and we'll talk more about him as we get into the other GARP challenge teams. Moving on to the second event, we have the Enel GARP challenge. So we have Enel versus Enel, which is quite cool, but this particular challenge is a little bit funky because we're going to be using the Nami Sanji treasure map unit, which is an orb booster for both fighter and free spirit characters. And a lot of the characters on this team, you'll see, they don't really have a lot of synergy with Enel aside from the typing themselves. So we're kind of just utilizing Nami Sanji and the fact that they boost, you know, fighter and free spirit. We have the GARP character, which is an attack booster and a full board orb manipulator. But that treasure map GARP is actually a really good unit for this Enel, actually, granting the ability to give you essentially a full board of matching slots for your side team, plus you get cooldown reduction and you get an attack boost to all characters. So actually a really good unit for Enel. We are using V3 Rayleigh here on this team, and V3 Rayleigh is just kind of nice to have against the stage 5, I believe it is, where we have the Psi unit and Shura, the int guy, because of just getting a free damage boost off of that is so nice, right? Because we get 2 turns of special reverse, and you know, typically that's going to be quite annoying to get around, but of course Rayleigh has the Sailor effect that can resist special reverse. I think it's by like 5 turns or something. So we can just launch his special, get an attack and an orb boost to our fighter and cerebral characters, and we get the support of Shanks, which gives us essentially a full board of matching slots for our team too. So, you know, dealing with that stage is not a problem at all. But another thing that's really, really nice about Enel that we haven't really touched up on is his special ability providing utility, and I think that's a really nice effect that they've added. So he removes 5 turns of bind and paralysis. So on stage 6, when we get to it, we're going to be using his special ability to help get around that bind that gets inflicted to us at that point, and then from there we can launch the rest of our specials. But on the final stage, we basically have Nami Sanji for an orb boost to our fighter and free spirit characters, which is all of our crewmates. So Enel is not a fighter or a free spirit. But, you know, Enel's going to provide color affinity to our team. Then we have Garb for a full board of matching slots. We have the attack boost. So the final stage is really not a problem at all. It's just a matter of getting to that final stage, you know. And luckily, Enel has a really cool effect with his captain, which says that, you know, however much damage that Enel does, he's going to be dealing 50% of that as AoE damage to all enemies, which is like really, really valuable to have as well. I will admit though that, you know, without boosts, the damage that Enel provides through that effect is a bit minimal. It would be nice if it was a little higher than 50%, but you could kind of understand, you know, with all the boosts active, that particular end of turn damage could be quite crazy. But you know, I think it's kind of reasonable. But you know, just in normal play without activating any boosts, it's not going to help you that much. You will see though on the stage 6, we do miss one of our perfects, and having I think we missed one of the perfects, and then having that little bit of extra damage from Enel with his captain effect being launched, that actually does help us get through that stage without having to like wait another turn, which is kind of nice to have. But definitely not the difference between winning and losing that stage, that's for sure. But the side teams have so much going for them, right? There's so many good side legends in the game. You know, you got V3 Bowler Hancock, German 66, which we kind of touched up on earlier. I mean, Goldie, Roger, for God's sake, Shanks crew. Like, there's so many good units that this character can really abuse as a captain or as a crewmate, really, which is kind of nice. But, you know, one thing in particular that a lot of people were kind of upset about was the fact that Enel is not a super type character. And honestly speaking, when you really think about it, you know, this with a super type on top of it would have been so nice to have. But, you know, this character is basically just a generic legend. He doesn't have any super type, he doesn't have any crazy captain action or any gimmicks like that. But it would have been nice if he did have, like, something extra that would have given him something else, potentially like boosting his own base attack so that his end of turn damage does more. Maybe like giving himself a matching slot that goes through everything, and maybe just giving himself like a personal boost, like give himself 1,000 base attack, a matching slot, and like maybe an attack boost or something like that, just so that when Enel does his attack, his end of turn damage is like really, really high. I think something like that would have been super interesting, and you know, you could kind of clear content without even having to use specials, like really easy content. You could just use his super type and his damage to kind of just, you know, kill content. But you know, I digress. It is what it is. I think he's really, really well structured, and I'll leave you with the rest of this clip and we'll pick things up in the final challenge. So now we move on to the final GARP challenge of the video, which is versus the Navy, which a lot of people do agree to the fact that it's probably the most difficult GARP challenge to get through, just because you have to get around the hunger mechanic. But luckily, as I mentioned earlier, you know, Shirahoshi Mancherry kind of helps you with a lot of those problems, because not only do they have amazing utility, they have the hunger debuff removal, they give you healing, they have overhealing, really. They give you rainbow slots, which is also very good. They give you a chain boost. Like, this Shirahoshi Mancherry is just insane. Honestly, like, one of the coolest released legends in the past like 12 months, I would say. But it is unfortunate, like, just in terms of the character of who the dual unit is. I still really don't like that. You know, it's another Shirahoshi Mancherry. But the effects that they provide are obviously freaking amazing, yo. With this team as well, we have Hold'em, of course, because we need to get around the threshold for multiple different stages, obviously against Kobe and Helmeppo, and of course on the final stage as well. So having an ability like that, he's on a relatively low cooldown. Plus, you know, with the Navy challenge, you can get to the second last stage, and you basically get like 8 to 9 turns of stalling for free. So that's also very useful to have. Just means that you could launch a bunch of specials earlier to kill those mini bosses a lot easier, and just take it easy on the second last stage, get your specials back to make sure you're prepared for the final stage. Shanks crew also makes an appearance once again here, just because of that switch effect being ridiculously useful. Plus their chain locking capabilities over multiple different stages is also another reason why I wanted to use them. I think on the stage against Kizaru, where he has like that barrier and he like makes perfects harder to hit, I believe, if I remember correctly, all I use is the switch effect of Shanks crew and the special, and that's enough damage to just get through that whole stage by itself. Which, when you think about it, is actually really crazy. The fact that you can just use that to get around the entire stage by itself. Plus, they grant the chain lock over multiple different stages, which again is another reason why, you know, Shanks' crew are as good as what they are. This particular stage as well also showcases once again why Enel is so awesome, because of the ability to get rid of that bind. And he doesn't get rid of despair, so he still needed some type of way to get around that, which of course is why we have Corazon support attached to Wano Law. But I mean, just with the Enel, we are able to get rid of that bind, which is awesome. Plus, it gives another health cut to the enemy. It's a very small health cut, but a health cut nonetheless. Plus, because he does do a health cut, means that, you know, you will be able to add like certain supports to him in the future. You know, ones that say you need to do a damage dealing special, which there are actually a lot of those. So it is nice that he at least does some form of damage. You know, it is annoying that it is a health cut, but you know, it's nice that he has it either way. And I love the fact that his captain effect just allows you to get around resilience buff. So if you are using him as a captain, or even as a crewmate when you really think about it, you can just use that to get around resilience, as well as being a color affinity boost, as well as getting rid of paralysis and bind. And if you are using it over multiple stages, you get more matching slots that way. So there's lots to love about this Enel, and it just makes the Psy typing continuously, you know, one of the best in the game, despite the fact that Psy has like one of the lowest, or I think it's either the lowest or it's the equal lowest amount of super type legends. You know, it's still a very powerful type, because they kind of sacrifice quantity for quality, which is still a very, very good thing. Whereas you have Int, for example, which have a lot of legends, and to be honest, a lot of the Int legends are very, very powerful. But anyways, I think Enel overall is a fantastic legend. He's a bunch of fun. Would I use him over someone like Goldie Roger? No, I probably wouldn't. I do still think Goldie Roger is my favorite captain to use in the game, and specifically if I have to run a side team, I'm probably going to be using Roger over pretty much everyone else, unless if you need some certain effect, you know, like a special bind removal. You can use Shanks' crew as a hybrid. You can do lots of cool things, but that's the thing. Sai have so many things going for it, and this is just another piece of the puzzle that this typing has, which is ridiculously cool. But I'm going to leave you guys with this video now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one today, and if you guys did enjoy it, make sure you go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post on my channel, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.
かなり